Peace and blessings. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here today on this wonderful Monday for our Monday message. I am Dharma Shakti, and I'm super happy to be here with you today to share a little bit of insight that may help you show up to your week slightly different. So today's quote is from an amazing individual who I happen to really respect and admire and value tremendously. And this quote is by Wayne Dyer, such an amazing individual. He says, "When you know yourself, being yourself is the easiest thing in the world." When you know yourself, being yourself is the easiest thing in the world. So look, when we are trying to fit in so that other people accept us, we're not being ourselves. We're being what other people want us to be so they like us. And so it's uncomfortable to be in our own skin sometimes. But when we really do the practices in life that allow us to be truly connected to who we are, we don't care so much to fit in. Rather, we start to desire to belong. We want to find a group of people that we feel like we belong with. And so if you're still in that fitting in phase, I'd love for you to listen up, because we maybe need to do some work to figure out who we are. So what does this mean? When you know who you are, what does he mean? When I look in the mirror, I know I'm a female, and I know I'm a mom, and I know I have a business, and I know I have bills to pay, and I know what kind of car I drive, and I know who I am, right? Wayne Dyer is not talking about this external knowing who you are. When you know who you are, my understanding of this is, first of all, just know your values. Know what is important to you, and know where your boundaries are, and know what you believe in. Because when you know what you believe in, it's easy to be who you are. When you're still trying to figure out what you believe in, that's when it's really confusing, because you don't really know what you're subscribing to, and you're just kind of like bumbling along until you figure it out. It's usually like the chapter of our lives that we call our 20s. We're just like trying everything on to see what fits. And at some point within your 20s, you'll find something that fits. And then, by the time you're in your 30s, you got to decide, this is what I'm wearing. This is what I'm wearing. And I'm going to wear this thing, and I'm going to really own it. And so, what do you value? What do you like? What do you dislike? And I don't mean, I like pizza, but I don't like vegetables. I like to be in nature, as opposed to I like to eat out all the time, right? What do you value in life? What's important to you? What's meaningful to you? And where most important, I think, is, where do you feel called? Where do you feel your heart longing to take you? Whether it be down a relationship path or a career path or to a new location to live in. Right? Knowing yourself, not the self you see in the mirror, but the self that is giving life to the body, the spirit, the soul, or what the yogis call the jiva, or sometimes referred to as atma. So we have to know this self, this side of ourself that is beyond name and form, beyond the name and the physical form. And this does require, in this particular with this quote, it does require that you believe that you are a spirit soul, and that you know that you are that thing, that you come from divinity. Knowing that, it changes how we identify ourselves. And, I think it's super important. Yoga teaches this. It teaches that, and Ayurveda too, actually. In fact, in Ayurvedic medicine, they say the first cause of disease is forgetting our true nature, forgetting who we really are. And who we really are is a spirit soul that has a physical body. And when we identify just with the physical body, it's changing all the time. So if I'm super confident because I'm young and I'm 20 and my body looks really good and I can eat whatever crap food I want and still wake up with the same pants fitting me the next day, right? That's going to change when you're 30. It's going to change when you're 40. It could change overnight in a car accident. It's not a permanent part of you. Your body's always changing. So if who you are is wrapped up in your physical identity, you're going to be in for a roller coaster ride, because that's not who you are, and it's always changing. So we have to go deeper than that, outside of our body and outside of our job title and outside of our relationship status. It's like, who are you? You're a spirit soul who has a purpose ingrained within you, and you are here to live out that purpose. So let's just start there. Know that you are here on purpose with a purpose. And then a big part of knowing who you are is uncovering that purpose. Figuring out, in yoga we call it your Dharma. What is your purpose? What is the path that you were meant to walk? My path is, I've just been in the healing arts for pretty much all of my adult life for work. I'm certain that this is my path. I'm certain. But my path is not everybody's path. Some people are meant to be amazing chefs. Not me. Some people are amazing artists. Not me. Some people are really good at math. Not me. My purpose is healing arts, spirituality, yoga, personal development. I'm super clear on that. And so because I'm really clear on that, it's super easy for me to be myself. Doesn't mean that I'm not without challenge, but it's easy for me to be myself because I know who I am. Now, it took me a while to figure out my purpose, as it will for all of us. You're not born just like knowing your purpose. It definitely takes time, but you got to pay attention. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to where you're being called. Pay attention to where you're being nudged by the universe. The universe is always laying out for us the path. It's always laying it out for us, and we just have to have the eyes to see and then the willingness to heed that call. So, my friends, I want to encourage you and help you find a way to know yourself, because, when you feel at ease with yourself, you become truly, truly free. And I really want you to have that ease with yourself, because I want you to feel free. Because there will be moments in your life where the choices that you make based on who you are will be challenged by others. And those choices may be exciting choices you're making for yourself in your life. They may be difficult business decisions that you have to make. They may be really challenging relationship decisions. They may be really exciting relationship decisions. But my point is, you're going to have to make decisions in life based on who you are. Decisions that serve you. And often what I find is when we have to make those decisions is we get a lot of pushback from other people, or we get a lot of criticism from other people. And I can tell you from the chapters of my life where I was unsure of who I was, it was detrimental to me to get that pushback. Their questions about my decisions crippled me and made me question myself to the point where I would just be frozen. That analysis paralysis thing that we do. We overanalyze and then we get paralyzed. I'm not going to do anything. But when you know who you are, man, I can't even, I don't know if I can articulate to you the many moments in my adult life, in my late 30s, where I've had to make some decisions that other people did not like. And I really didn't care. Not that I didn't care about that person, and I didn't care that they had their feelings about the whole situation. I didn't care about the drama because I knew who I was and I knew why I made that choice. And I knew it was the right choice for me, or it was the right choice for everybody involved. And that doesn't come out of arrogance or lack of awareness or from a self-absorbed place. When you know who you are, when you know your values, when you know what's important to you, when you know your boundaries, when you know what you're willing to go through, what you're not willing to go through, right? When you know these things, making decisions become a lot easier. But even more valuable than that is when you get the pushback for the decisions that you make, you will not be discouraged. You will not be intimidated, and you won't be disheartened, because you know who you are and you know why you made that choice. For me, that is one of the greatest values of knowing who I am. I know who I am, and I know why I make the choices that I make. Even when they're bad choices, I know why I made them. I know who I am. I know where my faults are, and I know where my weaknesses are, and so even that is like, oh, I know why I made that stupid choice. Duh. Even that part gets easier, and it's easier to own up to it. Be like, yeah, I made that. I did that thing because I know me, and this is what happened, and so I own it, and I'm sorry. That gets easier. And the like not giving a about what other people think about your decisions, that gets easier. I mean, I've been challenged many times on choices that I've had to make, and man, was I grateful that I knew who I was, and I knew why I made that decision, and I didn't question it when other people questioned me. I stood firm in it because I knew who I was. So I want you to feel truly free and comfortable with yourself and with the decisions that you make. But you have to know who you are. So I'll leave you with this. I want you to think about the practices in your life, or the habits or the hobbies that you have in your life that allow you to get to know yourself. In the yogic tradition, there is one of the main principles in Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limbed path of yoga, is called Svadhyaya. And Svadhyaya is this idea of self-study, or study of the scriptures, study of these sacred texts, because these sacred texts, they lay out the blueprint for everything that's happening and why it's happening and what we're supposed to do here. And they offer practices like breathing techniques and asanas, postures we can take, and meditation practices, and all these different methods that allow us to come home to who we really are, which is this divine being that's giving life to the body that we're in. That never changes. And so when we can start from that place and connect to that's who I am, we can build a solid foundation on that, and then build a beautiful world around it. And so think about what practices you have in your life that allow you to get you to know who you are. Are you reading self-help books? Are you journaling? Are you listening to these sort of personal development podcasts and workshops and webinars that really get you asking the big questions? And if you're not doing any of the work, then just start here. What do you value the most in life? What do you find is really important to you? And I'm going to ask you to go beyond material things. Go beyond the material. What do you value? Do you value stability? Maybe you value spontaneity. Do you value creativity? Or do you value logic? And as you start to really unpack these things, you get a broader picture of who you are. And you'll start to understand, the direction you're moving in life, and you'll start to understand why you're making the decisions that you're making, because of what you value and what's important to you. If we are not aware of what we value and what's important, everything's on a whim, because it feels good, because I'm trying to avoid what doesn't feel good, and it's like the wind is just guiding our lives, and it's going to be short-lived, or it has no direction, as the wind has no direction, right? And so we want to really start to think about, what am I doing on a regular basis that is helping me cultivate a relationship with myself? Because you have to know who you are. If you have dreams to chase, you need to know who you are. If you want to run a business, you need to know who you are. I just had my own realization in my business recently. Like, I've been doing what I do for so long, I realized something about myself that will forever change the way I make decisions in my business. I realized something in a process of things that were happening. I got more clarity. And you know what? Those are also opportunities to learn more about yourself. When you're facing challenges and difficulties, it's an opportunity to self-reflect. And through those self-reflections, we get to know who we are. And so I was going through something really challenging, and I just came to a realization after lots of self-reflection and talking out loud with a friend and journaling and lots of pondering. It just this realization hit me, and I was like, oh, I think this is just who I am. This is the way that I am. I realize that now. But it's going to forever change the way I make decisions about the way I run my business and what I do in my business and who I collaborate with in my business and who I invite into my business and who I keep out of my business. It was like that one little realization gave me so much confidence in so many other areas of like, I know who I am now. And so it's much easier to make decisions because I know who I am. So I encourage you to just, think about practices that help you know who you are. And if you're new to all this, welcome to the journey, welcome to the path. You're in the right place. Videos like this, getting you to think deeper and outside the box a bit, is going to help you discover who you are. It's such a valuable thing to have, knowing who you are. And look, last thing, and I'll finish up here. I know I said that already. I'm going to work on that habit. See, I know that I am a gabber. I know that I can talk too. So I know that about myself. And so I lean into the skills that allow me, or lean into the paths that allow me to really utilize that skill because I know I can talk. Right? So when you know who you are, it's so much easier to truly be yourself. So last thing I was going to leave you with just left my mind. Isn't that wonderful? Knowing who you are is super important to know who you are because you'll be challenged. And if you doubt yourself because you're unsure of who you are, you will not make your way through that challenge. You just won't. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you value, what's important for you, the general direction that you want to move in life. Like, you need to know these things. So take time to study, take time to get involved in practices that allow you to unpack the sort of divine workings of who we are as human beings and why we're here. Take time to sit with yourself and be with yourself and get to know yourself, and just make it something that's important for you to get to know yourself so that you could truly be yourself. You deserve it, and the people around you deserve it. And this world is craving authenticity and honesty. And so if you can step into that, wow, you really possess something super valuable that can change. It can change the people around you, and the community around you, and the city around you, and the world around you. So let's keep fighting that good fight and show up for ourselves and work on ourselves so that we can be a good contributor to society and the world around us. So I thought that it would come back to me, but it hasn't. So I'm just going to leave it there. So know who you are. Take time to know who you are. Journal, self-reflect, meditate, do your yoga practice, whatever it is that brings you closer to you, to understanding you. Study philosophies that align with you so that you can understand the makeup of yourself and what you got going on and what you're working with. All right, my friends, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope you got some nuggets of wisdom out of it. And please drop me a like on the video if you liked the video, and don't hesitate to share it with somebody that you know who may need to hear this message. I hope that you enjoy your week and that you spend some time doing the practices that help you begin to establish an understanding of yourself so that you can show up to your week and next week and the week after with so much ease and comfortability because you know who you are. You deserve that. I hope that you work towards it. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next Monday. And until then, peace and blessings. Keep your head high and your heart open wide. Lots of love to you, Life Warrior. Namaste.